Michael Hernandez here, MLH Media, and we are here today to get to speak to one of the women's featherweights, one of the former champions over there at A1 Combat, Carlene Chandler.
Hello.
I mean, let's just go ahead and go into the accolades over here. A1 Combat, former featherweight champion, and we're just speaking about it on the call. One of the probably only women that we've got to see really play out in a trilogy here in MMA and women's young time here in the sport. Can you kind of talk us through that and being one of the trailblazers, be on the other side of it? Because I know, Joy Ann Pendell, she got her shine on Friday, got to talk post-fight, but let's talk to you a little bit and talk to you about what this trilogy meant and what these fights had meant to you in your career.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of the trilogy, but I kind of see it still as 1-1. The very first fight we had, it was in amateurs, but I was 18. I think I was a white belt. That was like the very first fight I was ever in. So, and then I had like a broken nose. Nobody knew going into that fight. I had broke my nose like 3 days before. So, and I also thought it kind of got stopped a little bit early, but so I kind of see it as 1-1 now. I choked her out, and she got a unanimous decision victory this time. So I think there's a trilogy that can play out for real.
And that's funny enough that you had mentioned that, because I actually wanted to kind of bring that into your stratosphere and see your thoughts about that. Because speaking to Joy a little bit after, she said she was willing to take on all challengers. There's a little bit of a disruption in the course of her and Jaylene possibly going at it. What would your thoughts be about just overall the 145 title picture in general? Because there is a little bit of a clog up with that whole bout with Jaylene, and then that bout being so close, and then obviously you and Jaylene having your own bout. So what do you kind of think about the whole title picture and how you could kind of throw yourself back in?
Well, she actually called out Krista Timms, right? So she wants to fight Krista Timms, which I don't understand. She's 2-1, but she only really fought Sarah Cook. Okay, Sarah Cook's 1-2. She didn't. She did okay, but the only person that Sarah Cook fought was Carolyn Biscup, and that's a 39-year-old 3-9 fighter. So Sarah Cook beat her. Carolyn Biscup, that was just everybody's kind of fighting her to beat her. Now Krista Timms, she's a 33-year-old 2-1. She was in a major car accident. So like that was about 10 years ago. So she has like intestinal problems. So kind of in 2019, she had a huge surgery in her intestines and her stomach, a couple surgeries. So I don't even know if she's going to be able to fight Krista Timms. I don't know if that girl should fight anymore. But as far as Jaylene and her, I think Jaylene beat her the first time. How do you stand up with somebody for 14 minutes? She's punching her, she's kicking her. And then the very last minute of the fight, Jaylene gets took down. Joy lands a little bit of ground and pound, but nothing super substantial. So I think Jaylene won that fight anyway, which is why I fought her afterward. I think the real fight would be the trilogy with me and Joy, because that's what people want to see. And you see, when I fought Jaylene, she wanted to wrestle me too. So Joy wants to wrestle and hug. But I want to see these girls stand up, and I want to know if they want to stand up with me and actually have a real fight for a champion belt, and put everything on the line and really go for a win, and not just try to win by points and hugging and all that. So
yeah, and that's a great point that you had actually brought up. I never really looked at it like that. You're really truly the only one to get that finish over Joy Ann Pendell, and even Jaylene Fodder wasn't able to get the finish over her and was having a pretty good standing bout with her over the duration of those 3 rounds. But can you kind of go into the overall, the synopsis of this last fight for you, getting to watch it back a little bit post-op, and then just really getting to analyze it a little bit? Because I was getting to talk to Joy about it. I feel like that first round was crazy as ever. You guys were, you were throwing haymakers, and it was all war over there in that first round.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that 2 of the judges saw it in her favor for that round, and I want to be as humble as possible, but I'm hearing a lot of things from Joy, and I want to make sure that I'm able to say the right things. But the first round was mine. I punched her, I kicked her, I took her down, and I let her back up. but I elbowed her and I punched her, and I grabbed her toe hold, right? And so I was totally in control for that round. I don't know how the judges saw it for her. And you see it with the Jaylene fight. The judges saw it for her when she only really won 1 minute of the fight. So that was for the first round, right?
Yeah, no, and that's I agree with you on that. I mean, the other scoring for the other rounds is it's definitely up for debate, but I mean, I feel like that first round was definitely I just to see it 10-9 for Joy was definitely very questionable. And there was a lot of questionable kind of judging criteria. Continue.
She got her nose broke. She was bloody. She was breathing hard. And going into the second round, I punched her for what? 45. I'll give her the second round. Okay, that's the only round I'll give her. I punched her for probably 45 seconds. She struggled with me on the wall for 2 minutes. I'm still hitting her. She's holding on to my glove. She eye pokes me. The ref doesn't see it. She finally gets me down, and what is it? She's in half guard, and then for like a minute she's not even facing me, trying to pass. There's no damage going on, so I don't. She was in control, right? But you gotta have damage. You gotta have like blood. It's not like you can't just you're getting punched, so you hold on for dear life, you know, and then you win the round. Third round, right? You want to get. She got punched for the first 2 minutes. Okay, punched, kicked. So you go by time of me standing up and punching her, it's about 8 minutes. That's more than half the fight. And then the third round, she takes me down and she's in my guard for 2 minutes, and I'm threatening an arm bar and a triangle the whole time. That's why she can't get any damage off. She doesn't want to posture up. She wants to hold on. She doesn't give any damage. And then by that time, I'm like, all right, well, got to get to my knees or something. Try to get to my knees. She's holding on to my back. She throws like 2 little punches. I have the funniest video. I'm gonna make a highlight. I made a highlight. I'm gonna post it, but she throws 2 little punches like this that just hit my hand, and there's no damage. She's in my half guard, and then I just start punching her in the face, and then the fight ends. You know, so it's like you got to have damage. You can't just hold on. You know.
And funny enough that you mentioned the judging criteria. I actually have the interview with Isaac Thompson coming out as we're recording this, and we were speaking about it a little bit. He was talking about the Cody Vogels fight, and then just watching a couple of different fights on that card, and talking about the judging criteria, and talking about exactly how judges are scoring fight cards nowadays. Can you go into it as a fighter, how it's been for you as someone that's been on the losing end of a couple of decisions yourself, and then just having to go back and watch fights, and kind of like how you're doing with the Joy fight, and it's almost like you're trying to find where you're losing, but sometimes it's a little difficult, like how you're mentioning.
Yeah, well, totally. And then when we were in the back, the judges said, or the refs, they were saying, you know, if it's, and you see it in UFC all the time, if it's boring, they're just holding on, they're going to stand the fight back up. I heard the crowd yelling, stand the fight up. I don't know why the ref didn't do that. The refs in the back, he said that I think it was Mike Beltran. He said he was going to stand the fight up, but there was no action going on. When I actually fought Jaylene, Herb Dean told her that the fight was going to get moved back to the middle because she was stalling a little bit on the fence. So I was kind of shocked that it didn't get stood up. Yeah, the judging, it's like, it's got to be damaged, like I said, right? It's got to be a big part damage, how they look at the end of the fight. You see Joy sitting there, her face is bloody, she's breathing out of her mouth. You see I'm standing up smiling. Like, it's got to go. It can't just be the desperate fighter wins because they got you down and held on to you.
What are some things that you could possibly look to be implemented in future years, or probably in the coming months? I mean, Mike Beltran and David Shirley were over there doing a demonstration about the knees to the grounded opponent rule being changed. What are some possible other rule changes that you would like to see in rule sets in MMA that could possibly help with some of these problems being negated?
Just that same, you know, you gotta, if there's no action going on, there could be a penalty maybe. You know, Shirley, he was the first. I don't know how he ended up being my ref again. He was the first ref when we fought amateurs. He didn't grease me for the fight. He because it was my fault I didn't have grease. He stopped the round early, 2 seconds on the bell, and he kicked my corner out, Val Ignatov, and he kind of doesn't like me, I don't think. So when he sees that my coach is saying, you know, wrap up he even told my coach after, he said, I'm never going to stand a fight up if you're telling her to, you know, hold the guard and whatever. And he said, well, it's called intelligent defense. I got a black belt on top of me. I wrapped up her arm and I got her in my guard. And if she tries to punch me, which she should have been doing, I would be trying to tap her out. But if she's just hugging me, then why do I need to do something when she's not causing damage and she's stalling? She's just stalling. That's what it is. So, well, she should be trying to mount me. She should be trying to finish me, not just holding on. So, but yeah, any other changes? I don't know. I think make sure the refs aren't her friends. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I have people telling me that she's friends with all the refs. You know, she got the victory over Jaylene, which nobody knows how that happened. You got Uriah Faber and Corey McKenna both saying that Jaylene won the fight. Okay, so those are the UFC fighters saying that. So of course I'm going to follow their advice. I'm going to fight her next, like after that. But there needs to be a couple of changes, yeah.
And that is definitely, I mean, it's something that I feel a lot of fighters have stated before in the past, but I don't think any fighters came out and really just brought it as much as you have, because there is definitely a lot of evidence supporting kind of what you're saying. You know, there is a lot of collusion and judging, and I wouldn't say it's outright with the Joy Ann thing. I don't want to make any accusations, of course, but there is definitely a lot of and Isaac mentioned it too, you know, there's sometimes where guys train with certain guys, or it's, you know, and it can definitely be a little bit subsiding sometimes for a lot of you athletes. But getting to speak a little bit more about your life personally, I know that you were very busy in the lead up to this fight as well. You also recently were acquiring a home. So how was that going to be, the purchasing the new home buyer, and then also on top of that, getting everything prepared for fight camp?
Yeah,
because that's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I was kind of telling you, and this is only my second interview, so I'm sorry if I'm not that great, but I was kind of saying it was cool because I got to I was packing and moving and all that. So it kind of kept my mind busy. It was all week long. It was the whole week of the fight camp, the last week. So I was doing that. And then I made a coffee cake on the weigh-in day, or the night before weigh-in. So I made a big coffee cake in my new kitchen, and it came out really nice. So I was excited to eat it. But I had to move. I also have a small farm. So I have goats and sheep and all that. So I was moving them, make sure they were situated. And that's why I was late today. I came from the gym and I had to go feed them and stuff. So, but,
wow,
yeah.
it's you're like a modern day Napoleon Dynamite over there. You got a new home. You got a bunch of hens. You got a bunch of chickens. You got, next thing I know, you're going to be purchasing llamas over there.
Hey, you know what else? I have 2 emu. So I don't know if you've seen emu. Yeah, they're cool. They're like ostrich, but they're a little smaller.
Any chance Chelsea's out there helping you out on the farm?
She's a little. She's not really a farm girl.
She's a city slicker, as they say.
Yeah, but she likes fishing and hunting though. So.
Any chance that we'll be seeing her back in the cage? I know she recently had a fight over there in August. She's over there always constantly supporting your career as well. She was most recently at your last fight over there at the Hard Rock, I believe. Not this one, but the last one.
Yeah.
How's it to have her for your career?
Yeah, she couldn't make it to the last one. It's really nice because I have someone to train with. I have somebody to she really got my foot in the door and everything, because she started the path for me. And that's I don't want to forget to say this part, because this is kind of why I wanted to do the interview too, was because the lead up to this fight, we got Joy Pendell saying all these mean things about me in her interviews. I've never said anything mean to her, but the one thing she said was she's a little girl and she is a disgraced champion and she's fighting. Her sister's a UFC star and she's just living in her sister's shadow. So I want to say this. If there's anybody's shadow that I want to live in, it is Chelsea Chandler's, because she's somebody very, very elite, and of course I want to be in her shadow. So that doesn't offend me at all. But Chelsea is 100%. She's game. She's everything that, everything and more that I could have as a training partner, as far as, somebody opening the way for me and leading me in this career path, which is difficult. You know, it's a really difficult thing. So
100%, especially for women in MMA, and it's a very tough path for you. Like how we were just stating, I mean, your guys' careers were only started as a matter of not even 20 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, and
yeah,
it is quite crazy to see how much MMA has changed in just these past 5 years, let alone the past 10. So big shout out to Chelsea Chandler over there facing some of the
she'll be back.
women.
She will be back. Okay.
I was gonna say facing some of women's bantamweights top killers over there though as well. Justine Nunes had a 10-2 record before Chelsea was able to get the win over her. Norma Dumont before that, and then I'm recently facing off against Yana Santos, right? Had that fight over there in August. Didn't go her way, but still, I mean, like how you said, always one of the most game athletes over there in terms of women bantamweight division.
Yes, for sure. And then also, yeah, I'll if I don't fight Joy or Jaylene, you know, I'm gonna probably call out the girl that beat Krista Timms, the one that Joy wants to fight. I'll probably call her out because she won. And then if anything, I'll probably go to 135 for my next fight. Maybe get a bantamweight title in A1 and defend it a couple times and see where that goes.
So a possibility of going down to the bantamweight division or possibly facing off against Maya Stewart over there?
Yeah, Maya. Yeah. So, and hey, in November that would be all. We could steal the show. You know, I know Maya likes to get down and throw hands, so that'll be an interesting matchup, I think.
And with would that be going over to A1 Combat? Or I know you have had a fight previously at Invicta. I know they've been having their recent comeback with shows. Is there a possibility we see you on a card over there in the future? Or
yeah, I'm thinking A1 for my next one, maybe Invicta afterwards, or whichever comes first. But
home buyer, constantly keeping the fights on. I mean, what else can Carlene Chandler not do? And then you're making coffee cakes over there. I mean,
yeah.
what else? What else do we got? What else do we got cooking up next?
Oh, just trying to get on a win streak. You know, that's my main focus now. So I'm very blessed, and I want to glorify God in all of it because, you know, like I said, there's all these toxic things going on, but if I can glorify Jesus and everything, then I know I'm in good hands. And even if a fight doesn't go my way, I pick myself back up, and you know, I see where I improved a lot, and yeah, hopefully I get back in the win column though soon.
Gracie Fighter Stockton, always producing some of the top talent over there in Northern California. Carlene Chandler, always a pleasure getting to speak to you at the fight nights, whether it be inside, outside, whether it be weigh-ins, post-weigh-ins, whatever it is, always a pleasure to get to speak to you. And then I'm still going to be expecting my my hair.
I'm going to get you next
time.
I had it ready for you. I had it folded. I like this nice one, and I just put mine on, and then I think I just jumped in the car and ran over to the fights, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about him again.
No worries. Hey, it's a sick one. Vic's always got it on. You always got it on. I tell Gabe, I'm like, man, I feel left out.
I have a lot of different ones. So I got you for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, I'm definitely going to need to wear it, especially if you're able to get that win next time. I go ahead and see you in that A1 Combat cage. Maybe need to go ahead and wear some matching ones for that post-fight interview.
Yes. Thank you.